What is up, everybody? Purple and Gold podcast for Friday, June 19th, coming at you from once again beautiful St. Charles Parish, Louisiana, inside of the Tiger Den. It was not so beautiful on Wednesday night when the remnants of Tropical Storm Arthur rolled through here, and the Tiger Den actually took on a little bit of water, but we remediated, we maintained, and we are back and better than ever. Oklahoma and North Carolina for the national championship in college baseball this weekend. Oklahoma trying to give the SEC their 7th consecutive national championship. It will be a tall order. I think North Carolina is the better team. I think North Carolina has the better pitching left. That will be interesting to see. That series begins tomorrow. LSU has added a second pitcher from the transfer portal, USC freshman reliever Diego Velazquez. I like the move a lot. I think he'll be a contributor for LSU out of the bullpen. Similarly to Landon Hood, the other transfer pitcher they got from Gonzaga, he has 2 years of eligibility remaining, so that is going to be a plus. And I expect LSU to add a couple of more pitchers, bullpen-type pieces. As Jay Johnson has outlined, they do feel good about the pitchers they have coming back, including Kason Evans, William Schmidt, Cooper Moore, Marcos Paz, Reagan Ricken, and others. Braxton Beatty, a freshman outfielder, a left-hand hitter. He withdrew his name officially from the MLB Draft yesterday, so he will be a part of LSU's 2027 team. Jay Johnson did outline in an interview that he expects to lose about 6 or 8 guys out of this big signing class to the draft. LSU lost, really got hit hard last year out of the draft, and that's just something that all college baseball teams, but particularly the ones who sign the high-end talent, have to deal with. And that brings me to a topic that I wanted to talk about today, because they may not have to deal with it for very much longer. So a quick bit of an update on Major League Baseball. I know this is not a Major League Baseball podcast, but this affects LSU. So Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association are headed for a lockout in December. This is going to be a protracted negotiation of their collective bargaining agreement. The owners want a salary cap. The players are vehemently opposed to that. There are television contract issues. There are salary floor issues. And that leads me to a report yesterday that Major League Baseball, part of their proposal to the MLB Players Association is to change the eligibility and to change the nature of the Major League Baseball draft. And their proposal would be to reduce the draft from 20 rounds to 12, to reduce the signing bonus pool from $360 million all the way down to $200 million, and to make high school players ineligible for the draft. That's the headline. Players who go to college would be eligible after their sophomore year. So you're going to ask me, Rob, what does all of this mean for college baseball? What does it all mean for LSU? Well, the short answer is this would affect LSU in a tremendously positive way in terms of the amount of high-end high school players that LSU has signed over the years who are in Major League Baseball now who never came to campus. Connor Griffin, who's a superstar prospect for the Pirates, would have played not the last 2 years, but the 2 seasons prior for LSU. Robbie Snelling was a big high-end recruit who made the majors this year. He suffered an injury. He's got to have Tommy John. Jacob Mizorowski, the phenomenal pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers, and on and on and on down the line, all the way back to the likes of Trevor Story and possibly even Bryce Harper and others who would have wound up on LSU's campus. Now, this is just a proposal. This is not necessarily going to be accepted by the Major League Baseball Players Association. But I say all of that to say this. If there's a protracted fight and there is a fight over salary cap and salary floor and things that affect members of the actual MLBPA right now, do you think they're going to fight the hardest to keep a 17 or an 18-year-old kid from going to LSU or Arkansas for 2 years? So there's going to be a yin and a yang to this negotiation. Now, this proposal also included a 12-round international draft. There are some other things that go along with it. I don't know how much traction each part of the proposal will gain or not gain. But the one thing I think I feel fairly comfortable in saying is if the Major League Baseball players don't want a salary cap, and they don't, they're going to have to give some things back to the owners. And one of the things that they might give back to the owners might be a change in how the Major League Draft works and how the eligibility works. So let's talk about that. Certainly there are many, many LSU players over the years who have been 3- and 4-year players, right? And, Alex Bregman jumps to mind. Aaron Nola jumps to mind. Tommy White was a 3-year college player, even though he was only at LSU for 2 years. Trey Morgan. On and on down the line. Brad Cressy and, pick your guy, right? Todd Walker, everyone. Not everyone, not the draft eligible sophomores. Well, now you're only going to have a lot of those guys for 2 years, but you're going to have more of them. And so I think one of the things it would do is it would allow Jay Johnson to operate similarly, and all college baseball coaches, to operate similarly to their basketball and football counterparts. So now when Jay Johnson signs whatever it's going to be, right, a 16-man class, he knows he's not going to lose 6 of those kids to the draft. You're going to sign the high-end people. When you have them in the boat, you won't have to worry about them going to the draft. You won't have to worry about backfilling the class with people to replace the high-end people in the front of the class. It's going to make it a whole lot easier to navigate your recruiting class. Now, that's going to come with rev share. That's going to come with NIL, because now kids are not just going to commit to LSU to use that as leverage versus the MLB. Now you're actually going to commit to a school that you would intend to play there for 2 years. But LSU is not going to have any problem at all continuing their momentum on the recruiting trail and signing a bunch of high-end players. Now, could one of these high-end players go the junior college route? As it stands right now, if you go to junior college for 1 year, you're eligible for the draft. I don't know, because I don't know if that would change. I don't know if the junior college portion of this will change. The report about the proposal didn't mention anything relative to that. But if you're someone like Connor Griffin, who came out of high school a few years ago, would you really want to go play JUCO ball for 1 year just to get started in Major League Baseball 1 year sooner? Or would you want to go and play big-time college baseball at LSU in front of fans, Omaha, the whole deal? So I don't think that'll be a realistic option for most players. If that portion of the proposal goes through, that high school players are no longer eligible for the draft, it fundamentally changes college baseball forever, because there are just going to be so many more high-end kids who are forced to play college baseball for 2 years. And then you will look at a case of some guys, like let's just say William Schmidt is a recent example. William Schmidt turned down $3 million out of the draft. His first 2 years have been a little bumpy. He'll be drafted this next year, I'm sure. Unless he has a phenomenal year, he won't be a first-round draft pick. Well, the days of kids being forced to make those decisions would be over too, right? because nobody's eligible to turn down $3 million out of high school. I think that's a good thing too. So all in all, I think this is a big deal. And I think it fundamentally changes the way LSU and their roster would look year by year. Now, the 2-year piece of this will make for far more turnover, a year's worth of turnover more, because if you look at a lot of the players based on birthday and eligibility, there are some draft eligible sophomores. Derek Curiel is one this year. Grant Taylor was one recently. Kevin Gosman was one. There are some, but obviously the vast majority play 3 years, and as we said, some would even play 4. But you look at Jake Brown played 3. Stephen Milam's going to play 4. Kate Aronbeaty's going to play 3. Omar Cerna's not a draft eligible sophomore. So on and on and on down the line, this would change that in terms of, I think Jay Johnson and any college baseball coach are going to have to build their team sort of in 2-year increments. But you're going to build that team in 2-year increments with all of the high-end talent available. I mean, there's a world where LSU's 2023 team has Paul Skeens, Robbie Snelling, and Jacob Mizorowski on it. They're all in the majors right now. That's insane. And on down the line. Kevin McGonigal, who's the AL Rookie of the Year candidate from the Tigers, probably would have played shortstop for Auburn for 2 years. Like, we can go on and on and on down the line. It's going to be a fundamental switch for college baseball. I'm going to drop another podcast maybe tomorrow. I want to talk about the absolute heater that LSU football is on the recruiting trail. Because we need to discuss that. Reeled in a bunch of commitments over the last week or 10 days, and I think it's really showing the Lane Kiffin LSU marriage is what we thought it was going to be. If you enjoy the podcast, please like, please subscribe, please share. If you're on YouTube, if you want to follow me on Twitter X at RobG1124, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Team USA Soccer today. National championship in college baseball. We'll be back probably tomorrow to talk about LSU football recruiting. As always, be safe, be good to one another, always boot up, and always, always, always go Tigers.